Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast that explores Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
Why are you on your phone?
What do you mean?
Just recorded an episode where I yelled at you for being on your phone. You're doing it now while we're doing the intro.
What do you mean?
What are you doing right now? Seriously.
Nothing. I'm just getting ready.
No, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Show me.
Nothing.
Flip it around.
So how are things going?
Well, right now I'm kind of annoyed because you're doing your thing on your phone.
No.
Show me.
You'll see.
Okay.
Come on now.
So,
Trust me. Trust your fofo.
I
This
will-
doesn't
I will
bode
trust.
well.
I will. No, it never does.
All right, here we go.
Okay. Yeah, man, we're hanging out in my garage and we're smoking, and my parents live with us. We've converted the basement into an apartment for them, and they have needs. My mother in particular has a lot of needs, and so we've moved them in with us. And so my dad sent up Triscuits and crackers of different kinds with different kinds of cheeses for Jimmy and I to munch on while we're up here recording. It's very nice of him.
Yeah, Jim is very nice.
Yeah. My dad's name is Jim.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Jim.
your name is Jim.
Exactly.
And your dad's name is Jim.
Yep.
What's up?
What's up? And you're the Joe, so it's the 4J.
So how you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Good week?
Yeah, so far.
Yeah,
so
good.
far. Been
What
good.
is it today? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
All right.
Tuesday night. Yeah.
Tuesday night, hang out at my house because Jen took Catherine to some YouTuber's event somewhere.
All right,
And
well, explain this to me. I don't get this.
okay, so you don't know what a YouTuber is?
Someone on YouTube.
Yeah. So like popular YouTube personalities,
Okay,
who have
okay.
like millions of followers and whatnot. They generate revenue from that, but they also put on live shows sometimes. If they're singers, they'll do concerts.
Ooh.
They'll do variety acts. I took Catherine to one in Chicago where it was like 5 different YouTubers all came together to put on this big show.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. This is not when we were kids. So now, Jen,
Definitely not when you were.
no, because we didn't even have variety shows, much less the internet. So
No,
back
no,
then
or
it
cars.
It was simpler times.
Simpler times.
Yeah, if you had a wheel and a stick, like
That was it.
wagon wheel and a stick, that was all you needed. So so Jen's gone and the kids are in bed, and so man, we're having a little podcast time.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about what, Joe?
State of the podcast.
Oh.
This is kind of like a State of the Union address. And thank you for tuning in to listen to our State of the Podcast. This is where we get to talk to you about, what it means to be a podcast, what it's meant for us, where we started, where we are now, and where we see ourselves going in the future. And I'll tell you this, we're going to own it. 2018 is our year. You can stand with us.
No, but we're in 2017 right now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about 2018. I'm looking ahead.
I know, but we're in
2017 ain't our year.
So wait, but this is coming out 2017.
Yeah, no, but so next year is our year.
Next year's our year. We said that about 2017.
Yeah, I know, but it didn't work.
But it didn't work.
No,
out.
not so much.
We're like pachoo, pachoo, pachoo.
Oh, hey. Yeah, so, okay, good call. Good call on your phone. I like that.
Yeah,
that was
that was
worth
good.
it. That was worth it.
Hail to the chief,
So
son.
stay, that's your ringtone. Ever since Trump was elected, that's become Jimmy's ringtone. That's what that is.
Victory.
If you listen to our earlier podcast, you know this isn't the case. So, all right, yeah, we get a lot of questions about the podcast. We get questions about so how did you guys start and how do you record? We're going to do a bonus episode on what we do, like how we record. People kind of learn some of that.
We can do that.
But for now, what we want to do is talk about where we started, where we're at now, and where we see ourselves going in the future, what's going to change, what has changed, what needs to change, and stuff like that. So when did we start this whole thing, Jimmy?
I think we started. Well, I mean, we've been talking about it for a bit.
Yeah.
Like we were tossing it back and forth in early 2016. Yeah, probably even ended 2015.
Okay. So we've talked about it.
We talked about it, but we knew our schedules were just not there yet. We also thought, man, there's so many podcasts out there.
Even though they're not good,
But
there's a
we
lot of
wanted
them
to
out
do
there.
it well.
Yeah, we
And
did.
that was important to us was to do something that was quality and beneficial
Right. We wanted this to be edifying and fun. And we wanted
and
it,
actually funny.
yeah, which is apparently a very rare. You know what? You're more likely to run into Bigfoot than you are a funny Christian podcast. That's just reality. Okay. So yeah, we really wanted to do something different, something that really reflects who we are.
So how did
And
we start though? Remember how we started?
You mean like we just got we used a Blue Yeti mic?
No, even before that.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. So what we started to do just to kind of have fun is we started doing Facebook Live videos.
Facebook Live. It
that's
just
right.
started. We're like, hey, let's try this. And we would do a weekly Facebook Live video.
It was just wouldn't prep. We would just talk.
20 minutes. Just 20 minutes talking about
Was
something.
it 20 minutes? I didn't think it was that long.
At most, okay, maybe at most 20. It was about 10 to
like
15.
2 minutes.
It was
like
not.
2 minutes.
No, it was longer than that.
It's like a minute and a half.
No, it was longer
And that's
than
like
that.
half. That's like half as long as what you're suggesting.
No.
Isn't that what it is? Isn't that
No,
half?
no.
So yeah, we started doing Facebook Live, and people really liked it. They were like, "Hey, you should." Do, and we've heard this a lot. I've heard this a lot. I'd go on to podcasts. And they'd
I
say,
know you've heard this a
All
lot. You're
right,
just so
I'm just saying.
such a big
I'm
deal,
not a big
Joe
deal.
Thorne.
I'm
But
just
hey,
saying.
who's getting top billed for this podcast?
Okay, all right. I know, like monergism. Put your name before my name.
Yeah.
Alphabetical order, son. Alphabetical
Okay,
order.
That works.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That works.
Yeah. So yeah, we decided to go ahead and jump in and do this, and so we started with a Blue Yeti mic, both of us trying to talk into it at the same time.
Cramming into each other.
You can still listen to that. It's our first episode on backsliding. Episode number
horrible.
1. The sound, and the episode was good. The content was good.
You left me hanging that episode.
Oh, that was so
the
great.
episode I learned. Do not trust the
Oh
JoJo.
man! Well, what I learned was that you are a deep, dark, messed up person. Definitely listen to that episode. We've had tons of feedback on that episode. People really benefited from it. But we also realized this is not professional. It doesn't sound good. It's
No,
distracting. And so Justin Bond of J Bond Media said, yeah, let me help you guys.
Yep.
Here's the gear that you need, and let me do the editing. Let me do the engineering. And so J Bond came in and really rescued us from ourselves in those areas.
Absolutely.
It was really good. So we started doing, and we decided early on, like, okay, we're going to do a podcast a week. You have to at least do a weekly podcast. Otherwise, I just don't think there's a point.
Yeah, I don't get. There's no point to it. How do you stay consistent?
Who tunes in for a once a month podcast or whatever? I don't know.
There's too much time in between.
No, I just don't even care. And we didn't want to do something that was like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. We decided 30 minutes is going to be our minimum, and an hour will be our maximum, and we'll just kind of let the conversation go where it goes, and
Yeah.
whatever.
Now
it
we've
is in
had
there.
some that have been under. We've had some that have been over.
Yeah, but by and large,
By and large, we're
30
pretty
to 45,
consistent to
30
that.
to 50 minutes, yeah. And because it's just natural, just conversations. That's all that we're doing. So we decided on that. And then we did decide before we launched, we're going to do 2 a week.
2 a week.
2 a week.
What were we thinking?
Well,
I guess just that we had just so much to say. And I'm not saying that like as arrogant. I'm just talking about like
we talk
we're
all the
just
time.
long-winded.
And I also felt like, you know what? The podcast that I like, I want to hear them more often.
Yeah.
So if this is going to be good, let's give it more often.
Yeah.
Let's give them 2 a week, Mondays and Thursdays. So we decided on that, and I think that was a good move. People really like it, and people.
I agree. I was apprehensive about it.
Okay, no. People want to know, how in the world are you able to do 2, and not just 2 podcasts a week, 2 of the best podcasts around each week? How do you do that? Like, because it seems like it would be a ton of work. Like, how do you possibly do it? How do you manage the time and all that with all of your other responsibilities? You got family.
Yep.
With, you got your wife, you got your kids, you got your ministry, you've got another job outside of being an elder and being on staff at Redeemer. How do you balance it all? Like, how is it possible that we can do 2?
Well, I think one is here's the part that I think is important for people to know before we go into that is this is not really work for us. You know what I mean? Like
This is easy.
It's not even just that. Like this is what we naturally do at our Thursday meetings.
Yeah. We're just talking.
We're just talking. So really, all it is you guys are hearing our Thursday meetings with some mics.
Yeah, and we're just kind of saying like, okay, hey, this meeting, let's talk about this.
That's it.
That's all we're doing.
Which is kind of what our times are anyway. So we're just throwing up the mics, and it's not, when I say it's not just work or that it's not work, I'm also talking about that this is actually a refreshing time.
That's fun,
right? Like
it's
not-
encouraging.
and so it's not like we come away going,
I'm so tired now.
it's actually something that is, people enjoy going to the gym. People enjoy
Really?
going golf. Yeah. You're going to the gym now.
I don't like it.
Okay, but you're doing it. But
I
I'm
don't
talking
like
about there's
it.
some people that like it. There's some people that enjoy working
Yeah,
out.
there's something wrong
There's
with
some
them.
people that enjoy golf. There's some people that
Ew.
enjoy soccer. They enjoy
Ah.
sports. Or they enjoy
Does
reading.
anybody
or
enjoy
they-
anything good?
Some people enjoy cigars.
Okay,
in their
that
free
makes
time.
sense. There you go.
Okay. But for us, part of that refreshing time is podcast time.
Right. Iron sharpening iron. We recorded this podcast. You've probably already heard it on gossip, right?
Yep.
And so even as we were talking, Jimmy was saying things that I wasn't expecting him to say, even though we know each other really well. Sometimes we're surprised, and it was really good for me. I'm like, dang, you know what? He's right, and I'm wrong in this, and I need to change the way that I'm thinking about this.
And that happens often, guys. You just don't hear it on the episode.
No, we edit that stuff out. When Jimmy corrects me, we edit that out.
We edit that
I
out,
don't like
or
that.
just even day to day.
No.
Joe will be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go in this direction on the sermon for Sunday." I go, Joe, that sounds like heresy. Why don't we go this direction?
I'm like, shh, not in front of people.
Not in front of people.
Come on, man. So yeah,
So I ghostwrite the sermons.
But realistically, though, how is it that we do I mean, how much time? A lot of people ask this. How much time do you guys put into this podcast? Because it does sound amazing.
Yep.
Because we're putting out 2 a week. How much time does this take, and does it interfere with your other responsibilities?
No. I would say we put in each about 5 to 6 hours a week.
Each week.
Which is why I said 5 to 6 a week.
Each week. I'm just chiming in. I'm just parodying. I'm saying, yeah. I'm amening you.
Yeah. Thank you for having my back. So yeah, 5 to 6 hours a week. I mean, as far as prep goes, it's kind of low.
It's sometimes there is zero prep.
Sometimes like this one's just throw up the mics and go.
And the one before this, you had zero prep. I had about 45 minutes of prep where I just kind of looked up some stuff on the internet to pull some quotes together. Sometimes we do some reading.
Depends on the topic.
Time.
If it's a topic that I definitely don't feel comfortable with, I want.
And you know what's coming eventually. You'll start reading.
I'll start reading ahead of time.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of discipline in putting together a schedule of here's when we're going to meet, here's when we're going to record. We have our calendar. We know what we're going to record ahead of time for the most part.
Right.
We use. I mean, do you want me to go through all?
No, we'll save that for the bonus.
Okay. All right.
So yeah. So really, and what we have to do, because we do like this is fun for us. Mm-hmm. We have to intentionally limit ourselves, because we could spend a lot more time on this and enjoy it. But
Which is why we haven't been able to do some of the things we want to do, like the Friday stuff.
Right.
Because we just don't have time.
Right. So we keep talking. Jimmy keeps talking about Friday videos.
At some point,
once we figure out
how we can do it within the 6 hours, then we're going to do it.
We're there. So really, what we're talking about is sticking to our schedule so that this does not infringe upon family or ministry or work. And really, like, we do this when we're off the clock of either of our jobs. And when our families are not going to be feeling the burden of it.
That's right.
So yeah, it works out. It works out really well for us. And so we started. What was the month again?
I think July. It was either July or August.
July. I think it was July of 2016.
Yeah.
And we've seen our numbers grow, our listeners base grow, our email list kind of slowly grow. You guys need to sign up for the email list.
Come on, guys, sign up. Listen.
Listen, we're going to quit. If you don't sign up, we're going to quit.
We have, I'm comfortable in saying,
sure,
6,000 subscribers, like 6,000 listeners a week.
Right.
In a 24-hour time period, an episode will get 6,000.
No, that's within a week. What I'm looking at when I see it is we get 4,000 within 24 hours.
4,000 24
for the
See, I don't even check the stats anymore.
Yeah, well, the most recent one got a lot, but definitely in under a week we've got over 6,000 downloads
for that one new episode. Okay, so there you go.
That's where we're at now.
So yeah. So I would say about 4,000 of you are not signed up for our email list. Get on there.
Do that. That'll help us help you. Help me help you. Movie?
Stop it, Jerry Maguire.
There you go. But don't watch it. It's rated R. All right. And so that's how many downloads we're getting. Can we talk about monthly downloads?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. So each month we're seeing an increase in monthly downloads. So
this is a low number. Like, this is not really.
No, it's nothing impressive. These are not impressive numbers. We're just trying to tell you where we're at. So we had, I think, 20,000 downloads off the bat, like pretty quick. And then it was 30 something and then 40 something per month. So now we have, let's say we can estimate, and figuring out how many subscribers you have is actually complicated. It's not easy. But it looks like we have between 5,000 and 6,000 subscribers.
Yep.
And we can deduce that through all of the other stats. But we get more than that in downloads per month because new subscribers will go back and listen to previous episodes. So last month we had 95,000 downloads, 96,000 downloads
right.
for the month. And the month before that we had 80 something.
No, I think it was 70
something. And then in the 2 months before that, it was 60
Yeah.
something. So yeah, the podcast is growing. People do seem to receive it well. Some people don't like it. That's fine. Some people hate the banter. They don't like the arguing.
Well, sorry, that's just us.
They don't like your laugh.
Yeah, that's just me. I don't know what to say.
They can't
change that.
They can't tell who is Jimmy and who is Joe. That's probably why you're sometimes listed first.
No, I think
I'm pretty sure that's
I'm
what
the
it is.
manlier of the two, and I think that's how they know.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Listen to your voice.
Here we go now,
Now listen to my voice.
Let's go.
My voice is much more manly than your voice.
You sound like George Takei right there.
Oh my. All right, so we're having fun. We've got this locked down. We've got a system. Normally we're recording on Wednesday nights. Sometimes it's Tuesday nights.
Yep.
It just kind of depends. And we record at least two.
Two at a time.
And sometimes we get weeks in advance.
Yeah, well, that's what we try to do. We try to get kind of enough in the hopper. That way, Justin or somebody else is not scrambling at the last minute trying to edit a episode, because we also want to try to hear the episode before it goes live.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing.
Don't talk about the episode.
No. I'm not going to be specific. But we'll record an episode. And so we're just, after it's over, I don't remember it pretty much. It's like, I remember some highlights, but I don't really remember what we said. And then it'll sit there for a few weeks, and then we'll get it back. We listen to it then.
Yep.
We don't listen to it until then, after it's been edited. And then sometimes you'll hear oh man, that's going to be confusing.
Yeah, that needs clarity there.
Do we want to make a statement in the show notes to clarify that? Or the one time we didn't listen to it, Jimmy said something about firing the white pastor.
I did not.
You did say something about firing the white pastor, and people lost their minds. And
my African American brothers were
understanding. The white people were like, hey,
they understood what I meant.
Why are you firing the white man?
Either way, it was a misspoke.
Jimmy misspoke. Again, this is off
I
the
was
cuff.
wrong. I apologize.
Okay. So we like to listen to it just in case we need to make a clarification.
Yeah, so that's what we say to Justin. We're like, Justin, we can't get this late. You know why? We don't need another fire the white pastor.
Yeah.
Episode.
So usually when Justin thinks there might be something like that, he'll send it with the subject "fire in the hole," and no, he doesn't. All right, so now this is where we're at. Where do we see this going? Let's answer this question: why are we doing a podcast, and what do we hope is the benefit of the podcast, and then what's in the future? So first, why do we do it?
One, we do it for our own edification, right? We do it because we are, not only do we enjoy it, but it is something that helps me grow, and it helps Joe grow. Not by much, though. He's still pretty short.
I can't grow anymore.
You can't grow
I'm
anymore.
shrinking. I'm 44.
But it's something that's edifying for us, and it's something that's enjoyable. We enjoy it.
Most of the learning, I tell people this all the time. I learned so much in college, in Bible college, and I would say 50% of the learning that I did, and Jimmy knows how good I am with percentages, so who knows what that really is, but a lot of my growth happened in the lounge. The lounge on the dorm floor, where we would sit around and talk about all the things that we're reading and hearing in class, and we would fight and we would argue, and then we would be like, "Oh, my argument doesn't really hold up." I mean, you wouldn't admit that in the lounge. You'd admit that to yourself.
Yeah. Pride would not allow it.
No. I gotta win. But yeah, so talking things out, articulating, testing your ideas, and hearing from others is a great way to learn. So I agree. I think that's definitely one of the reasons. But we also do this because we do believe it will be helpful for others.
Absolutely. We kind of said that from the beginning. Two things. One, if it stops being fun, we're done.
Now, you keep saying that.
I mean it, though. I mean, if this is not fun, it's not just going to be a business arrangement. It's
not
just
going
to be this.
But some things aren't fun, but they're still important.
Yeah, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it. No, I'm sorry. I'm giving up 5 to 6 hours of my time.
Oh, 5 to 6
Yeah,
hours.
it's still, that's time that I could have reading or doing something else.
Probably just watching TV, though.
Maybe Netflix
We
and chill.
watch less TV
now,
but there is not less chilling. We put a priority on certain things.
If it's not fun and if it's not edifying, if it stops being edifying,
then it's definitely over.
If it's just so it goes that way. If we're having tons of fun and it's just a comedy show, there's no point.
Yeah, there's listen, I listen to comedy podcasts. They're not Christian because Christians aren't funny, but at least most Christians aren't funny. I do listen to comedy podcasts, and those are great. There's a place for that. But for us, we really want to add true spiritual value to people's lives in our conversations. That's really why we do that. And what we want this to be is something that Jimmy and I do, but we want it to be good for our church. Really, first and foremost, we were talking about people that we want to encourage, but we want it to be good for other churches and not just Baptists, but Presbyterian. We really, and what I love is that we have such a diverse audience.
Absolutely.
I remember one guy was saying early on, he was giving us a hard time about the podcast, and he's like, "Man, you just have a bunch of like young, restless, and reformed guys, a bunch of 20-somethings listen to your podcast. Of course, you're good." And the reality is, I don't even think that's our largest demographic.
No,
we have men and women of every conceivable age, from junior hires all the way up to retirees, listening to the podcast. And we get messages from them. We get a lot.
Yeah.
In fact, at this point, we should talk about that in a little bit, like the amount of correspondence that we're getting.
Yeah.
Because now it's pretty rough to keep up with it. Okay, so where do we see? So we want to benefit our church, other churches. We want this to be an encouragement. So what have we done? We've done cool stuff and fun stuff that people get into. People like T-shirts and journals, so we make T-shirts and journals. We recommend books because that's something that we really believe in, and in doing those things, that generates some money.
It generates a little bit of revenue. Yeah.
Now we don't get like paychecks. We don't.
No,
we're not making money.
No.
We've still lost money in the long run. Really.
Yeah.
Well, there's been investments made.
There's been investments made,
in
but
some, and that haven't been paid back yet.
Yeah, but I think so it's not that it's a loss. It's just an investment that hasn't returned yet.
Not yet, right?
Not yet. But the books and the T-shirts and the apparel, like all that stuff, the videos, all that actually helps to support the podcast. When you click on those links, when you buy that T-shirt, when you grab that video, you're actually helping to keep the podcast going, because there is monthly costs and fees that are associated.
What are some of the monthly costs? Not numerically, but just like not the amount, but like what are the monthly costs that are taxing?
Okay, well, like the platform that we use, like the
Squarespace.
Well, Squarespace is one, but I'm also talking about like Libsyn.
Libsyn is what hosts the audio.
The hosting of it. We talked about the websites.
That's Squarespace.
Well, Squarespace, but also Shopify.
Shopify, right? So that's the shopping end of it. We got to pay for that.
The Vimeo, so there's that aspect of it. There's MailChimp, that's another aspect of it.
MailChimp is free until you hit a certain
number,
or
right?
you want to do certain things.
Yeah. So MailChimp. I'm trying to also think.
So there's a number of monthly things that we've got to pay for.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we give this stuff away for free. So those things that
the accounting software, you got to pay.
QuickBooks.
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, because you gotta keep track of it all, because Uncle Sam wants their cut.
Now, what about the editing software? Is that a monthly fee?
No, that was a one-time
purchase
fee that we had to do.
So you've got all of these ongoing things, and so right now we're able to cover the cost of all of that through the podcast. And when we have money that comes in, we're able to pay like a videographer.
Yep.
So we can pay the speakers who come in.
Pay the speakers. We can fly them in. We can fly the videographer in. We can
put them up in a hotel.
Yeah.
Food.
We can take care of the videographer. Like all that stuff is used for that.
You guys make that happen. You guys make that possible. And so all that money that we get, it goes back into the podcast so we can do more. We had a great turnout for our conference. We had 216 people there. Yep. Great turnout. And people want us to do it again. We want to do it again. And so we have a little bit of money left over. We're going to put that towards next year's podcast.
Yeah,
I guess it'd be this year's podcast, right? Is it 2017?
Well, we're in 2017. It's going to go towards the 2018 one.
2018. All right, got it. I get confused. So, so the next year's conference. So that's kind of how that works. So when we're looking into the future, let's talk about this. What needs to stay the same with the podcast? What do we hear the most about that they like?
Well, I think what I hear the most is that it's actually encouraging. That needs to stay the same. That it's actually beneficial, that it has helped people sort through certain issues and concerns.
It can be directive for some.
Yep.
It can be confrontational for others. And it can just inspire people. Not that we're awesome. I'm just saying the conversation inspires people to investigate or to move forward on something, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And so I hear that a lot. I also hear that they love the relationship, that there is a a real friendship and a real brotherhood here.
Some have, questioned that relationship.
I think some people think we're too close.
Some people say we're too close.
Yeah. But you know what? There is no such thing as too close for comfort.
No, there
in
is.
the JOFO. No, not in the JOFO.
Oh, not in the JOFO, yeah.
Okay. But for some people, right, that are insecure. So we hear a lot about that. And here's what we hear a lot when people, like at the conference or when people meet us, they go, oh,
stop.
You're really like that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk about something else.
No, you guys, this is how you really are all the time. We're like, yeah, we're not pretending. Why would we do that?
No, and one of the other things I did hear at the conference and even online and social media has been people saying things like, I feel like I know you. Yeah. Like, I feel like I actually know you. It's this weird dynamic where because we have put ourselves out and because we are honest and we are real and we're vulnerable, people know us pretty well that we don't know at all.
We don't like to pretend. Not that we don't ever pretend. Everybody pretends sometimes, but we really don't like to pretend. We don't want to pretend. We don't want to do that. We want to be honest and real. And that's something that we said from the beginning. Like, this is going to be real or we're not going to do it. We're going to tell the truth. And when we, like we did that episode on pornography. Yeah. And the response was overwhelming. People say like, oh, I'm at work listening to this and I'm crying right now. I'm broken and encouraged. And we have people like hearing that Doug Logan interview that you did, and they're like, "Wow, this has been so helpful for me. Like, I feel like I have my bearings now again.
Absolutely,
trying to reach my neighborhood and being a man of love." So, when we're looking ahead now, when we're looking towards the future, what needs to change? Does anything need to change with the podcast?
I do think we need to tighten things up a little bit.
All right,
like I think. Maybe doing a bit better in preparation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would you say that? I mean, there's minimal amount that goes, and we only have so much time. But I do think there are some things that, some conversations that we have, that it would be better to have a more thorough thought going through the whole thing.
Right. So like we haven't done much of that because we just want to have a conversation. This is not a scholarly oration of truth. This is two guys talking. But at the same time, some subjects do deserve a better
more
representation than we can get, than we have given in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we need to tighten that up.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that needs to stay the same is the humor aspect. The fact that we find each other funny is going to always remain a part of the podcast. But at the same time, we want that to mature. And
mature. Yes.
I'm sorry. We need that to mature.
Yes.
If you say mature, knock it off.
No,
just say
indubitably.
Mature. Oh my goodness. Take that monocle out of your eye and say mature. Anyways, but we do need to mature. I think sometimes we've been in here and I'll say things that I would say to Jimmy, like, of course I would say this to Jimmy, or we would do this, but we don't, it's easy for me to forget, well, this is also a public conversation. It's not a private conversation.
Yeah, we got to watch that.
And so we're really big on this, right? That certain contexts allow for certain kinds of language. And I'm not talking about cuss words. I'm just saying like certain contexts allow for certain conversations, certain vocabulary, and other contexts would forbid that.
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is we want to be more careful. Now, we don't want to restrict humor. We don't want to stifle ourselves, but we do want to be more mature and more careful in how we talk about certain things. So that's something that we recognize, and we've even heard that from people.
Absolutely.
But in terms of things that we want to change in the future, what do we want to improve on? Like, is there anything new that we want to do? You've teased this video thing forever.
I mean, I would love to do that. That's one thing, but we need our email subscribers.
Why do video? Who cares? Why do video? We do a podcast. Why video?
Yeah, I think because we can do a bit more kind of teaching or devotional, something that could be much more. I don't want to say polished, but like something, I don't know, something pinpointed, right? Mm-hmm. So I know we've talked about going through a certain work or something like that, right? And I feel like that would be really beneficial for people. People can follow along as they're kind of going through it.
We have like 20 different ideas that we could use for video right now.
Yeah.
And the problem is how do we find time for it?
How do we find time?
And until we have a way of doing it in our allotted time, we
just
won't
can't,
do it.
you know?
But yeah, also I think that video is a different format. And so it works differently. It might impact people differently. And we are a very video-oriented culture, so it's something that we are interested in exploring. So we have access to cameras, and we want to not church cameras, but Jimmy has access to cameras. He has a camera now of his own. That's very nice. So we want to leverage that stuff when God allows. Anything else in the future, though, besides video?
Well, we've been doing the blogs.
We've introduced the writing. Yep.
I know we've talked about it. We haven't actually worked it out. Is it okay if I tease this?
Yeah.
I would like to introduce our listeners to more people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about people that you already know or are well known.
No, who cares about those people?
But I'm talking about other
emerging leaders.
I want to introduce you guys to more of them.
Yeah.
Give an opportunity for some young men
and women to
write and to share their thoughts with you. Thoughts that I believe is beneficial for the church.
Right. Totally.
So we're trying to work that through. How's that going to look? How do we manage something like that?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And we want to expose you to more people who could write for the podcast and future conferences.
Yeah, absolutely. People that could
about.
do breakout sessions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Preachers that we believe that, I'm thinking of some young preachers that we have.
Right, at Redeemer. Yeah.
That we would put on any stage.
Oh.
But because they technically don't have a name or a platform, no one's listening to them.
Right. So
but they have something to say, and
so
we want to
give
expose
them.
you.
We could give them an opportunity to speak out, to teach, to share what God is teaching them, and we know it would be good for other people. Mm-hmm. It'd be really good. So there's that. Boy, there was one other thing that I had in my mind that I've just lost. Conferences. I know. I was thinking. You and I are toying with the idea of writing a book together.
Oh, you're going to talk about that?
I'm just saying we're toying with the idea of writing a book together. So yeah, there's interest.
I think it's more than toying. And the reason why I say that is because we've
we've got the book outlined, we've got the thesis, and we've got a publisher that's interested. So
yeah. That's more than toying.
Well, I'm toying with the publisher. They're like, "You want to sign a contract?" We're like,
they want us to sign.
We'll get around to that. Right now, Jimmy's got to finish his elder candidacy.
Yeah.
That's priority. And again, that's the thing. We can't write this book because we've got to have time for it. And until we have time to do these things, we're just not going to push. So, what is the state of the podcast? How do you feel about it?
Awesomeness.
Yeah, you feel really good. I feel really good.
I
about
feel
the
like
podcast.
it's Trumpian at this point.
That would imply a lot more than just winning.
Well, I think it's huge.
Okay, so it's huge and it's winning. Maybe it's less Trumpian in some of the vitriol and
I would hope
it's definitely not Trumpian in hair.
No.
That's definitely a difference. But yeah, I think that I'm actually really excited. I honestly view the modest success of our podcast as God's kindness and grace.
Yeah.
That two guys just talking can connect with so many different people.
And we're genuinely amazed, and humbled by the responses we've gotten.
We get a lot of responses. We get
Yeah.
Instagram messages, Twitter messages, Facebook messages, emails,
letters in the mail,
post owl. We get all kinds of stuff, and we always like, hey, we'll respond. At this point,
it's hard. We tried to.
Now it is impossible to respond to everybody. Now I guarantee everyone is read, and if we can respond, we do respond.
Yeah.
But at this point, it is an impossibility to respond to everyone, and we're sorry for that. I wish that I could respond, but the reality is, we have to limit that time.
Yep.
And it's simply put, it's more important for us to be responding to the people in our congregation than it is to people in the podcast. There's a hierarchy there.
No, I agree.
And so when we can, as we can, we absolutely do. We do, even if we can't respond, we love hearing from you. It's so encouraging. And we are humbled by it. I thought we would have some listeners. I didn't expect us to have a conference in under a year.
My goodness.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Technically 2 conferences. Because we got the one in New Zealand. So we got one booked.
That'll be it, but we'll be over a year then.
I know, but it's still booked. We had 2 conferences booked.
Yes, we did. Yes, there will be a Doctrine and Devotion conference in Wellington, New Zealand this year.
This year in November.
It's going to be awesome.
And then we have our 2018 one that we're trying to nail down now.
Right.
The speaker.
I don't know. Pope Francis is really hard.
He's really hard to get.
First of all, I thought you could just email him. You can't do that.
I was emailing Pope at Vatican.com.
What happened? What were you getting? Because I didn't do that.
Well, I was just getting bounce backs. Is what I was getting.
yeah. Well, it's we're working on somebody else. We couldn't get
Pope Francis. Frankie was unavailable.
Yeah, Frank's too busy. We do have people in mind that we would like to consider coming in for the conference, and so we'll keep you guys updated on that. That's something that you can pray about. Ultimately, if as you guys are thinking about our podcast, we always tell you how you can support the podcast. What we want to do is tell you to do this. You can pray for us.
Yeah, please.
That we would remain disciplined in the time that we put into this, not putting in too much. And we are right now very disciplined, but pray for us. Pray that that we don't think too much of ourselves because we have a podcast that people happen to like. And this goes for any pastor. You should pray for your pastor that he wouldn't think too highly of himself. You should pray that for any Christian that you know. It's a scriptural principle. But we want to have fun with this, and we want to do this for the glory of God. We don't want to do this in a way that is going to detract from people drawing closer to Christ. That's really something that we want for this podcast. So pray for us that we would do well, that we would honor God, and that this would continue to be something that is helpful for people. I would say the state of the podcast is good. Mm-hmm. It's good, and it can
get better.
It's good. It needs to get better. It will get better, and you guys help us to get better by giving us your opinions, your thoughts, your feedback. And we have a lot of people speaking into this whole process, mostly people from our church that really speak into what we're doing, but we also hear all of you as well, and we really value it.
Big thanks to Justin Bond of J Bond Media, the audio-visual wizard of Doctrine and Devotion. If you've got any audio-visual photography needs, hit up Justin Bond at jbondmedia.com, and he will hook you up. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head on over to the website, click on the sign-up page, get on our email list. Stop it.
Wham.
I know, but it's distracting me. Go. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursday. Blog posts on Wednesdays, possibly more in the future, as well as video content, hopefully on Fridays. Later.